send you, Moses, to Pharaoh so that you may bring my people, the sons of Israel, out of Egypt. Now, in verse 8, he says, I have come down to rescue them from the power of the Egyptians and to bring them up. The idea here is that, first and foremost, let me make this simple, there's a problem. A certain generation has an outcry because of suffering. There's a problem, and God wants to send a divine solution. And so God decides by his own sovereign will that he wants to come down to solve that problem. You see, and yet he's calling a man and says, after he has already explained that he is coming down to solve this particular problem, which in this context was the children of Israel were being enslaved by Egypt, and God wanted to come because the children of Israel were suffering, and God wanted to come save them from the sufferings. And God is calling Moses. But God had first described that he himself wants to come and help them. But then he now says in verse 10 that now come and I will send you to Pharaoh. So God sees a problem. He is the solution. He himself has the capacity to bring the solution, yet he's calling a man. The idea here is that because of the law of territory, God is spirit, and this is a natural earth. And because the law of territory, a spirit cannot have influence over the natural world unless he has a physical body through which he can find or give his will expression. So there's a spirit, there's earth. The only way the spirit can influence earth is if he has a physical vessel by which he can begin to prosecute his affairs upon the earth. And so because even though God has the solution to the answer, he can't actually bring the solution until he gets a physical body. And so Moses becomes the vessel that God wants to use to solve the problem. How the call of God works is that God, by his predeterminate counsel, there are problems in a particular generation, and there are solutions he wants to bring to these problems. Not just salvation, there are many different dimensions and of the reality of God that God wants to manifest upon the earth in a particular generation, but that he needs vessels that which he can call to be able to use to fulfill that task. So I want to call somebody. I have a desire, but I need the instrumentality by which I can accomplish that desire. That instrument is the phone. The phone is the medium by which I can actually complete my task. So God wants to save Israel, but the agency by which he can actually physically save them is Moses. And the way the call of the God works is that it was predeterminate counsel. He already wanted to do this thing before you came in the picture. Because when he called Moses, he already decided he wants to save them. Moses had no idea what was going on. And so each of us, we are candidates to serve our generation in a particular capacity in alignment with what God wants us to do, based on him perceiving that we are the right candidate to solve that particular problem, and based on the different giftings and graces that will put on a man's life to cater to a specific problem.